Okay, sign in page. And the idea is you're making sure that you scroll down, will be towards the bottom, probably. There you are. Right, trying to, and you might have something here, I don't remember. All right, everybody wants, you need, let me try this again. So what we're doing is we're making sure that all three of our sentences are arguments. So our argument statements, meaning they use the word because in them. So I'm made everybody go through and figure out how to use the word because in order to create an argument statement, which will then make it easier to do the rest of everything, fill out the outline and then write the rough draft. So
yeah, is this
the
the
through, and then I started to make some comments about how to try to do it. And because the other thing to keep in mind is that you want to have three very separate ideas, right? You don't want to just say the same thing like 3 times using different words, because then that will get you nowhere. So here's this is a blown up picture of the outline. These are the two I'm using for this example. Are too many people going to college, and the other side is not dumb. My main supporting point that I've come up with is this: people are becoming more separated and divided because understanding someone else's perspective has become too difficult. So that works because I'm making a claim in the first part of the sentence before the word because. People are becoming more separated and divided. That's one thing I'm asserting that. I'm going to, and then I'm going to give a reason. Why is that? Oh, because understanding someone else's perspective has become too difficult or impossible. Depends on what I want to say. So 2 parts through the sentence. First, turn your attention to the first part of the sentence, and you're now trying to figure out what you're either one or both, you want to think about both of your articles, how they connect to that and support it, or how it can, right? So first part of the sentence, just copy paste it, is people are becoming more separated and divided. So I need to look into both of these articles and pull from them information, quotes, ideas that help support this, right? So I just need to prove that people are in fact becoming more separated and divided. So I look to my first one, which is the everyone goes to college. Are too many people going to college? That's the title.
Dan Smith's perspective.
Okay, are too many people going to college? My first one. And more separated, divided. We don't need another one of those. It's already there, right? So he talks about how liberal education is necessary to participate in a society's culture. Talks about how not everybody should go to college because they're not academically or intellectually rigid. So his whole deal is dividing people into certain groups: literate, illiterate, like geographically literate and illiterate, and so on. So this guy divisive. So this guy's an example of someone who divides people based on versions of literacy or education. So that's going to be my first thing that's going to help show that people are becoming more separated and divided. So then I'm looking to my second article, which is the other side is not dumb.
Yeah.
This one is way easier just because there's many opportunities for me to find examples in there about people becoming divided and separated. The whole article, right, is about people not listening to other views, thinking the other side is stupid and So I give myself a little transition sentence that I might use. So while Murray, he's the author of the Are Too Many People Going to College? While Murray presents a divisive view based on cultural participation and different types of literacy, Blanda, the author, I believe, of The Other Side is Not Dumb, Blanda explains how the echo chamber of the media can keep people from trying to understand other people's views. Then I go in and grab some information. Echo chamber of information false consensus bias, right? I want to pull quotes. Ideally, I have a quote for Article 1. I have a quote for Article 2. All of this is me still sort of just talking about the separated and divided thing. I'm just sort of proving that. As I do this Article 2, what will happen is I will sort of transition into dealing with the next part of the sentence. So I repeat this pattern. So now I'm on the second part of the sentence, and I'm doing I'm trying to do Article 1 and Article 2. If I can't do it, I still want to find a connection. I'll show you what I mean. If you find, and this will happen to everybody, you'll find there's no connection, really. You're like, I don't really have much to say maybe about it. So here it is. Understanding someone else's perspective has become too difficult. So the everybody goes to college guy doesn't really address this very much at all, I think, other people's perspectives. There might be things to do, like he could sort of be talking about other perspectives when he's talking about not going to college and doing something different, right? So that could be an example I could use. I could say, oh, he does talk about how it's important to do something different, but that's tough because we're really just talking about understanding someone else's brain or perspective, and he doesn't care about that. So in that case, I want to come up with something to say, because again, this is similarities and differences. So I want to be able to do something that makes a connection, sort of, but not really. While Murray's article focuses on the idea that, so I basically say, here's what his does focus on as compared with the other one. While Murray's article focuses on the idea that people should consider different options after graduating from high school, Blanda focuses on the idea that people should consider different opinions. And now I am off to talk about Blanda, right? Because the other side is not dumb is all about understanding someone else's perspective and why it's too difficult, because they're lying people, or why we should, but I'm going to say it's too difficult. Lies exist, misinformation, and learning to understand that perspective that's not a thing. So that's essentially what I'm going to say. But so my Article 2, I'll have much more to talk about and quotes from it. So that's what will help me develop. So let's put the other side. I'll pull quotes or paraphrasing, right? Or ideas that basically help me show this part of that sentence. So I may have 2 paragraphs here, and I'm still sort of just dealing with one of my supporting points. In fact, I'm not even done, because the last thing to do is the counter argument. So this is for each of your main statements. You're doing this. You're doing two things, I guess, meaning your 2 parts of your sentence. And then you're doing a counter argument, which is when you come up with a view that the other side might have, right? That might be arguing against you. So if my ideas, people are becoming more separated and divided because of this, because it's become too difficult to understand. Yeah. You mean for the second part here, like the, yeah, yes, exactly. Right. I mean, so that, but there might not be too much to say, but this is the one, this is what wait, yeah. So he focuses on different options after high school, but I could probably do a little bit more with this. So I could because I'm pointing out the difference, right? So I say, but I'm using language to make it sound like they have, then they do have something in common, considering different options and considering different opinions is basically what I'm saying. So I might keep going and be like, here's an example of Murray talking about different options. Like, not everybody has to go to college, or whatever he's saying. And then sort of get into her talking about different opinions. And then that is going to lead me to talk a lot about perspective. So the counter argument's all about trying to figure out what people would say against your argument. So you're trying to find some angle or something that people would say, and it could be, and it depends, right? It could be either part of your sentence, or it could be like the first half, second half, or it could be the whole thing. So for example, I might decide to bring up the opposite of people are becoming more separated and divided. Right, so I can imagine to myself that, oh, well, maybe someone out there would say, and I have to make it, and I will say that, I'll be like, some people believe that people are not becoming separated and divided, they are actually drawing closer together because of technology or whatever. And then I need to explain why they're wrong. Right, so the whole counter argument idea is bringing up an opposing position so that you can refute it. And that strengthens your own argument just by bringing it up.
Okay.
It also shows you sort of know what you're talking about, just a theory. Well, so I could find what rooms I did. All right, so some people argue that people are actually becoming closer by connecting with like-minded people on social media. The idea is that by joining groups and communicating on social media, people are becoming more unified. This is not true. And then I would go on to explain why it's not true. Basically, what you're creating is sort of like little clan groups that don't want to have anything to do with each other or something. So that's the counter argument part. The other thing I could do is try to deal with the second half of my statement. So there's going to be some people who say, well, you just really, if you try hard and practice, then you'll be able to understand other people's perspectives. So you got to put it in the work or something like that. And I will try to be like, some people say that, except it's different now because people's perspectives, you know, are based around things that are factually untrue. And it's hard to like understanding that their idea is false. It's not really just an open conversation, stuff like that. In any event, you want to find something to say. And if you can, you would use information again from one of your articles, or if you think of one that's one of the things we've read before. Like for example, this just reminds me of the self-segregating article, where she sort of makes fun of Facebook, talks about how they're very divisive and not unifying. Right, so I could find a quote from that and put that in here, and then that would become one of my sources. So we're trying to we're comparing our two main articles all the way through, and then every once in a while, if we need it, we can take a quote or make a paraphrase from one of the other articles. And that is essentially today. So, and we're trying to get this done today-ish or tonight. I mean, I think it's tonight officially, but, and then wanting to have a draft going, like a page, like 2 pages. I was saying earlier, what might be good is just to make sure that everybody has at least one of their supporting points written out. Right, so you have your main supporting point, you do all the stuff I just talked about, and then bring that in and have that before class, and then we can sort of work on it. Or I mean, and even if I'll probably still do Zoom for this class. Same difference though, have it so we can look at it and so on.